and just wanted to tap into what might be going on for you right now that for me sometimes is sneaky. It sneaks up on me. It doesn't always show itself for what it is. And I just want to kind of break that open and crack that open for you to let you see what behaviors might be happening and how to hack it, right? How to overcome it. Because I'm noticing this in a lot of not only myself, but also in people I'm hearing from and talking to. And that need for control is oh so powerful. And I am absolutely feeling it the same. And so real quick, if you are here with me live, please say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from, dialing in from. And if this video becomes something valuable to you, you feel like it might help someone else, please share it and tag me. And I would always love a little like and love if you feel the call to do so. And so there's three things I wanted to talk about regarding this need for control. First of all, many of you know I speak to, identifying the two different parts of us that are prominent, meaning there's the mind and the heart, or the ego and the higher self. It's called many different things. I stick with the title called the ego, right? That reptilian part of us. Hey, Carolyn from Texas, my home state originally. Now I'm in California. I'm glad you're here. And so the egoic part of us that is trying very hard to protect us, especially in this climate that we're in. And it's normal on a daily basis. Its job is to protect us and survive us. And yet we give it way too much power. And C Metro, awesome. And so the first thing to recognize is, why do we need the control? What are we trying to accomplish? And our ego is trying to protect us from the unknown. It's trying to create certainty. That is a basic fundamental requirement that we all have. And yet when we give it way too much power and control, then we end up in some, probably undesirable behaviors or results, for that matter, and outcomes. And our life is just more complicated and it's more difficult. So one of the things that it does is, number one, it creates an unconscious level of stress. And for me, someone could look at me and say, are you stressed right now? Are you stressed? Are you feeling stressed? And I would probably argue with them and say, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm good. I got this. It's happening. Things are a little crazy right now. But that's the problem, is that our conscious mind believes we've got this. We're okay. I can handle it. Right. And then the unconscious level of stress that's going on is the sneaky part. Right. First of all, that can wreak havoc on our immune system. That keeps us in fight or flight. Our nervous system is, kind of on full speed ahead, and it's not a healthy state to be in. And so if we're in an unconscious stress level, there's just a lot of kind of long-term effects that we really don't want to have, right? And so I want you to just start to recognize, do I have a need for control? Am I feeling that need for control? Am I trying to make sense of everything? Am I trying to figure out how to fix things, right? How to solve the problems? And I'm not saying don't go into action and solve problems, right? Be a problem solver. However, just recognize what might be under the surface is this unconscious level of stress mode going on, which leads to number two, a lot of times, is what I call the reactive response. And so maybe you are, you're with family full time now, and there's things are getting triggered. Maybe you're feeling short or just irritation, or I just want to be left alone. I mean, there's just these unconscious things that come out in that reactive response. Yeah, Dia, hi Dia, nice to see you. Yeah, the effects of stress are not obvious until they are. That is accurate. So that's that long-term effect. And so reactive response may be what shows up, which is a signal for you to look inward and go, what am I trying to control? What is it that I'm trying to, hold on to? And for me, I've always said that, pretty much anything we suffer with, anything that we struggle with, anything that keeps us in scarcity or lack, or keeps us away from the goals and desires and the things that we want, is what I call some form of attachment. We are attached to something. And in this case, this conversation is about being attached to control. And I'm a recovering control freak. I'm very clear that control of some sort has been my coping mechanism. And that means I sometimes go into massive action and busyness, and it's not sustainable. And so when you're in that reactive response, which that could be part of your, the way you respond, is you go get really, really busy, or your calendar gets all filled up. It's so funny. People are saying, oh, we got so much time right now. And I would probably beg to differ. You may have more things on your plate, especially if you have kids, or you putting a whole lot of things on your plate because you're avoiding the lack of control that we all feel in some level. And I say that generally, you decide if that's true for you. So number 3, I just want you to be aware of the need for control sneaks up on us. And it's the third thing I want to just speak to is the ego trick that I call requirement, right? The need for control, the need for knowing how it's going to turn out, knowing when it's going to be over, knowing when, the need to, be able to have a say about it, right? And so that ego trick is a signal that something deeper is going on. So the availability here, and so you might be asking, how do I fix this? How do I deal with this ego trick thing called requirement, or this sneaky thing called need for control? And I'll share this with you. One is surrender is required. Surrender is required. And so with that, I would ask these 2 questions in order for you to get to a place where you can surrender. And so when you bring unconscious knowingness to your above the line into your consciousness, then you will have more freedom around the choice and the decisions that you make and the behaviors that you choose, right? And so in order to do that, we've got to dig underneath the surface. And so one way to do that is ask yourself, what am I trying to control? Very simple. But I don't think we're doing that on a daily basis. We're not asking the question and then listening for the answer that we're giving ourselves. So ask yourself, what am I trying to control? And number 2 is, what experience am I trying to avoid? Because the need for control is an avoidance tactic. It's I don't want to experience being out of control. I don't want to experience things falling apart. I don't want to experience my bank account going, depleting. So there's something that you're also trying to avoid, usually when we are trying to control something, because we're holding on tight. It's like holding on to handlebars and not willing to let go, right? And surrender. So those are the ways you hack this. I call it the ego hack. And I'd love to know your thoughts. Are you feeling this need or sense of need for control and certainty and such? Because I know I am, and I'm fighting it every day, and I'm asking myself these questions. What is it that I'm, really up to, and what's underneath the surface, so that when that releases, it's kind of like a pressure cooker. When that answer shows up, then it releases the steam, right? So I offer that to you. Let's see. I want to check in on the comments. Thanks for being here with me. And if you're on the replay, hit #replay. I do come back and check the comments. Someone says here, I think I'd go through the 5 stages of stress, like the 5 stages of grief. Absolutely. And I actually want to talk more about that, because I do believe we are going through that. This is a sense of loss, of whether it's a loss of people, loss of job, loss of control, loss of certainty, loss of your identity. All of that is happening. And so we are moving through the 5 stages of grief and 5 stages of loss. And one day I think I moved through them in 5 minutes. I mean, I was just tears and anger and all of it. So I may come back and actually have a conversation around that to dive in a little deeper. So thank you for your shares, and please let me know how I can support you further. What is it that you would like to know how to handle, how to manage, or how to overcome? And I'll be happy to train more on that. And I hope this has served you in some way to let your awareness be the first step, so that then you have a choice to do something different, right? And behave differently. Ultimately, we've got to be willing to surrender and let go, and still take inspired action. That's the goal. So Carolyn, thank you for being here. Hi, Katrina. I'll be back. Awesome. All right. Good to see you guys. And again, if this was helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Facebook page, wherever you're streaming from. I'm streaming all over the place right now. And share with me your light bulb moments. What is it that you're hearing, and what did you need to hear today? Because if you're showing up here, there's something that potentially was for you today. So thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you on the next live. Talk to you soon.